Welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today into the journey of a young best-selling author, Chloe Gong.
Oh, very cool.
We found this great interview with her over on YouTube by Simon & Schuster Books, and we just knew we had to share it with you.
I think it would be super interesting to see how someone so young has already achieved so much.
Right.
Her story is really inspiring.
Yeah, and I think she's just someone that a lot of people can relate to.
I agree.
You know, she started writing for like the most relatable reason ever.
Oh, yeah.
Boredom.
Oh.
She was growing up in suburban Auckland, and she just like ran out of things to read.
Wow.
At 13, she was like, hey, why not write my own stories?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so many of us have done that, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Like, I remember in middle school, I was always scribbling down story ideas on napkins
Yeah.
during lunch breaks and stuff.
That's awesome.
So it's really cool to see her take that to the next level.
Yeah. And starting small like that can be so powerful.
Totally.
You know, like she started writing on her notes app,
Oh, yeah.
which is something so many people have access to.
Exactly.
It takes the pressure off and lets you just play with ideas.
Right.
And that's how her breakout novel, These Violent Delights, was born.
I know. It's incredible.
It is.
She wrote that whole book during one summer break.
Wow, that's dedication.
I mean, talk about dedication.
Serious commitment to her craft.
It makes you realize that maybe those late night writing sessions aren't so crazy after all.
Right. It's like when you get in that flow state,
Yeah,
time just melts away.
totally.
Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, absolutely. When I get lost in a good writing project,
right.
I completely lose track of
I
time.
know what you mean.
But you know what's even more impressive to me is that she navigated the publishing world without any industry connections.
Oh, wow.
She literally Googled how to get an agent.
That's amazing. Like, talk about resourcefulness.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, getting an agent is like a black box to so many people.
it is. It's a competitive field.
Right.
And you often face rejection.
Exactly.
Chloe's story is a reminder that persistence and research are key.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's this twist of fate.
Okay.
Her agent lost her voice
Oh, no.
right when Chloe was waiting to hear back about her book deal.
Oh, can you imagine the anticipation
They know.
waiting for this news that could like change your life,
Totally.
and the usual communication channels are cut off?
It must have been agonizing.
Yeah.
And then an email arrives with the subject line, Alpha with 20 exclamation points.
I love it.
Talk about a dramatic entrance into the publishing world.
I would have been over the moon.
I bet. That moment must have felt so surreal.
For sure.
And then things didn't change overnight.
All right.
But it wasn't long before These Violent Delights hit the New York Times bestseller list.
That's so huge.
It's such a pivotal moment for any author.
Yeah,
Like that validation that your work has resonated with such a wide audience.
totally. Like a stamp of approval from the literary world.
Exactly.
So now let's rewind to the pandemic.
Okay.
Chloe finds herself back in New Zealand, isolated from friends,
Yeah.
just like many of us were at that time.
Right.
And what does she do?
Yeah.
She downloads TikTok.
Interesting.
It's really where serendipity comes into play.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't strategically trying to become like a book talk influencer or anything.
No,
She was just looking for a connection.
that's
And
correct.
she found it in a way that would change her career trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on TikTok in general?
I think it's been such a game changer for the publishing industry.
Yeah.
I mean, Chloe even mentioned in the interview how much she enjoys seeing like the funny videos her readers make.
Oh, that's awesome.
It shows how TikTok can create a genuine sense of community,
Totally.
which is so different from these calculated marketing strategies you see so often.
Absolutely.
You know, it's about fostering a genuine connection with readers
Yeah.
and allowing them to become part of the storytelling experience.
So cool.
But as Chloe matured, so did her writing.
Oh, interesting. How so?
She shifted from coming-of-age stories to exploring more complex themes like the search for meaning.
That makes sense.
It's really fascinating how an author's voice evolves alongside their personal growth.
Definitely.
And speaking of growth, Chloe is making her adult fantasy debut
Oh, wow.
with a new book called Immortal Longings.
Okay.
And get this, it's inspired by Anthony and Cleopatra.
Cool.
I know, I'm already hooked just hearing about it.
That's a brilliant premise.
Right.
It highlights how historical figures and events can fuel the most imaginative fantasy world.
Totally.
It's like she's bridging the gap between history and fantasy
Yeah,
and inviting readers to explore both worlds in a new light.
I love that.
I know, it's exciting.
And she's so excited for readers to visualize her story.
Oh, why is that?
Well, because she describes herself as a very visual writer,
I see.
which I find so fascinating.
Yeah, it's like she's creating a movie in her mind
Right.
and then translating those images into words.
Exactly.
It's a testament to the power of imagination
For sure.
and how a well-crafted story can transport us to other realms.
Absolutely. But even with all her success, Chloe admits to battling the dreaded writer's block.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering about that.
Right.
Have you ever felt stuck in your creative process?
Oh, all the time?
I feel that.
It's like hitting a wall.
Yeah.
But Chloe has a unique way of dealing with it.
Oh, really?
She views the brain as an organ that needs rest, just like our bodies.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
We often push ourselves to be on all the time,
Yeah,
but creativity needs space to breathe.
it really does.
And remember how she compared managing her writing brain to negotiating with a child?
Oh, yeah.
That's so true.
It's hilarious and so accurate.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance between discipline and self-compassion.
Exactly.
It's a reminder that we need to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah,
Especially during those moments of creative struggle.
totally. And Chloe sees writing as a practice,
Uh-huh.
something that gets better over time.
I like that.
It's really encouraging, especially for aspiring writers out there.
It is. It's about embracing that growth mindset.
Yeah.
Understanding that the journey of learning and evolving as a writer never truly ends.
For sure. And even with all her achievements, Chloe confesses to being afraid all the time.
Really.
I know it's kind of surprising.
It is a little bit.
It's a reminder that even the most successful people have their insecurities.
That's true.
It makes you realize that imposter syndrome isn't limited to certain professions.
Oh, no.
It can affect anyone, even best-selling authors.
Right.
And Chloe brings up a really important point.
Okay. What's that?
Writing is a constant work in progress.
I see it.
There's always something new to learn,
Yeah.
a new challenge to overcome.
That's a good perspective.
It's about embracing the unknown
Yeah.
and finding joy in the continuous process of learning and refining your skills.
I love that.
It's amazing to hear such wisdom from someone so young.
It really is.
But at the heart of Chloe's journey is a genuine love of storytelling. It's what drives her.
Uh-huh.
It's what inspires her, and it's what connects her with readers worldwide.
That's beautiful.
And that, my friend, is the secret sauce.
I think you're right.
Passion is the fuel that keeps the creative fire burning.
It really is. But we've covered a lot of ground already.
We had.
Why don't we take a quick pause here?
Sounds good.
When we come back, we'll delve deeper into Chloe's creative process
Okay.
and explore what it really takes to bring a book to life.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Stay tuned. It's really remarkable how her passion just shines through, you know.
Yeah.
It's like she's living and breathing these stories.
It's like she's constantly creating, even when she's not actively writing,
Right.
which I think is where some of that writer's block magic comes from.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like stepping away and letting your subconscious kind of mull things over.
Yeah, that's where the real breakthroughs happen.
Totally.
Like those aha moments you have when you're like in the shower or on a walk
Yeah.
and suddenly your brain makes a connection that you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
So true.
And remember how we were talking about her starting with those coming of age stories?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now she's diving headfirst into adult fantasy,
I
a
know.
whole new world to explore.
And she's not afraid to experiment either.
Right.
Makes you wonder what she'll tackle next.
Yeah, for sure.
But speaking of engaging readers,
Yeah.
let's talk about Chloe's relationship with her fans,
Okay.
especially on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's so clear that she genuinely enjoys interacting with them,
She does.
and she doesn't take herself too seriously.
Yeah. I think that's one of the secrets to her success on that platform.
Right. Like that authenticity is key,
Totally.
especially I think for young readers.
Yeah.
They can sense that she's not putting on a persona
Right.
or trying to be someone she's not.
She's just being herself,
Exactly.
which is so refreshing.
In a world that often feels so curated and filtered.
Totally.
And it's not just a one-way street either.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like, her fans inspire her just as much as she inspires them.
That's cool.
Remember how she talked about loving their funny videos?
Oh, yeah.
It's clear that she sees her readers as collaborators in a way,
That's awesome.
not just passive consumers of her work,
Right.
which I think is something a lot of authors could learn from.
I agree.
You know, it's a beautiful example of how art can create community.
It is.
It's not just about the author sharing their story. It's
Right.
about the readers responding to it, reinterpreting it,
Yeah.
adding their own unique voices to the mix.
It's like a giant conversation
Exactly.
unfolding across different platforms.
Like Chloe's right there in the middle of it,
I love that.
listening, engaging, and encouraging.
Yeah.
You know,
It's really cool.
it flips the script on that traditional author-reader dynamic.
It does.
It's a powerful reminder that art is not a solitary endeavor.
No, it thrives on connection,
Yeah.
exchange of ideas and perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. And in today's digital world, those connections can be forged in ways we never imagined before.
That's so true. You know, something else that struck me in the interview
Yeah.
was when she talked about how she's afraid all the time, even though she's achieved so much at such a young age.
Right.
It's something I think a lot of creative people can relate to.
Oh, absolutely.
It's that pressure
Yeah.
to live up to expectations,
To outdo yourself.
to never let your audience down.
It can be so daunting.
It can be paralyzing.
Totally. I've definitely felt that fear myself.
Yeah.
Especially when starting a new project.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
Chloe doesn't let that fear control her.
Right.
She acknowledges it, she accepts it,
Yeah.
and she keeps moving forward.
She uses it as fuel
Exactly.
to push herself further.
It's so inspiring.
It is. And she's not afraid to experiment,
Yeah.
to try new things, to push her boundaries.
Like with the adult fantasy. This is a whole new world for her.
It's a fantastic example of how she embraces the unknown.
Yeah. How she's willing to step outside of her comfort zone,
And take risks.
which keeps her work so fresh and exciting.
Totally.
It's like she's saying, hey, I don't know what's going to happen next,
Right.
but I'm going to dive in head first and see where it takes me.
That's such an empowering message,
It is.
not just for writers.
What for anywhere.
It's trying to create something new and meaningful.
Exactly. And who would have thought that a notes app could be the starting point for a best-selling author?
Right. It just goes to show that inspiration can strike anywhere.
Anytime.
The key is to be open to it.
To recognize those creative sparks
Yeah.
when they ignite.
And to have the courage to fan those flames into something bigger.
It seems like Chloe has definitely mastered that.
She has, and it all comes back to that genuine love of storytelling.
Yeah.
It's what shines through in every page she writes.
It makes you want to dive into her world.
Yeah.
To experience the magic she's created.
And maybe even try your hand at creating a little magic of your own. So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Yeah, what can you take away from Chloe's incredible journey?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is this.
Okay.
It's never too late to start chasing your dreams.
I agree.
Whether you're 13 or 24 or 64, if you have a story to tell, if you have a passion burning inside you,
Don't let anything hold you back.
have your notes app, find your voice,
And start creating.
and don't be afraid to experiment,
To make mistakes.
to learn and grow along the way.
Because the journey is just as important as the destination.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Find your community.
Connect with other creatives.
Support each other along the way.
Because when we share our stories, we not only inspire
But
ourselves
we inspire others
to find their own voices.
and share their own unique perspectives.
And who knows?
Maybe one day we'll be deep diving into your story
Marveling at your journey.
and celebrating your success.
All right, time for a quick pause.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll explore Chloe's writing process in more detail
Sounds good.
and discover some of her secrets for crafting captivating stories.
I'm looking forward to it.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Chloe Gong. It's been really fun to unpack her journey to becoming a best-selling author, from those early days writing on her notes app to navigating the world of publishing. I'm so inspired by her story.
Me too. It's such a great reminder that success isn't always a straight line.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of hustle and heart involved.
Totally.
And Chloe's journey is definitely proof of that.
For sure. She's pouring her heart and soul into every story, and readers can feel that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of stories, I'd love to know a bit more about her writing process.
Yep.
She calls herself a visual writer, which I think paints such an interesting picture.
It does.
What do you think she means by that?
Well, I think it suggests that she sees the story unfold in her mind like a movie almost. And it's her job to translate those images into words that will evoke the same feelings in the reader.
It makes total sense, especially with her upcoming book, Immortal Longings, inspired by Anthony and Cleopatra.
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine how she's brought that world to life.
It must be amazing.
It's her adult fantasy debut, too.
Wow.
What a leap.
It really shows that she's not afraid to take risks.
Totally. But even the most talented writers hit those roadblocks sometimes,
For sure.
We talked about Chloe's struggles with writer's block earlier.
Yeah.
Do you have any strategies for dealing with those moments when the words just won't come?
Oh, yeah. I think for me, it's all about stepping away from the computer and just doing something completely different.
Yeah.
A walk in nature, listening to music,
Yeah.
even just doing the dishes sometimes can help clear my head.
Right? Like, give your brain a break.
Exactly. And remember how Chloe compared managing her writing brain to negotiating with a child.
Oh, yeah, that was so funny.
Sometimes you just have to give yourself permission to step back and recharge.
Absolutely. And her perspective on success is so refreshing.
It is.
She doesn't view it as a destination,
Right?
but as a continuous journey, a constant work in progress.
That's a great way to look at it.
It's a powerful message for all of us, I think.
I agree.
No matter what our goals are.
It takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
Striving for perfection.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about embracing the journey
Yeah.
and recognizing that growth is an ongoing process.
And despite her success, she still admits to being afraid all the time.
I know. It's so relatable.
It's a reminder that everyone experiences self-doubt,
Yeah.
even those who seem to have it all figured out.
Exactly. It's human nature.
But what matters is how we respond to those feelings.
Right.
And Chloe uses that fear as fuel to push herself further.
It's really inspiring.
And she emphasizes that writing is a constant learning experience. There's always room for improvement.
Totally.
And that's what keeps things interesting.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Yeah.
What story are you burning to tell? Chloe's journey reminds us that it's never too late to pursue your passion.
Absolutely.
Start writing, even if it's just on your notes app.
Yeah.
Let your imagination run wild and don't be afraid to experiment.
Embrace those moments of boredom, those sparks of inspiration.
Right.
Give yourself permission to play with ideas, and don't be afraid to share your stories with the world.
I love that you might just surprise yourself.
You never know.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Exactly. Connect with other creatives, find your community, and support each other's journeys.
Because sharing your stories is such a powerful way to connect, inspire, and learn from one another.
So true.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of Chloe Gong.
Yeah, it's a good one.
We hope you were inspired by her story
And that you'll carry that inspiration with you.
as you embark on your own creative adventures.
Until next time.
Happy writing.